Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and the host of this show, to Take Your Life Back Today show. I had a friend who, his friend relapsed, fell off the wagon. So what's the difference between a slip and a relapse? I want to talk about that to maybe help my friend and the other friend of his. One of the biggest obstacles and fears in recovery is looming possibility of a relapse. In rehab, treatment staff tries to prepare people for it by walking them through the potential causes and signs to be aware of when facing what could trigger a relapse. While relapse prevention guides, modalities are extremely helpful, nothing can fully equip someone when they face a situation full of triggers, both emotionally and mentally. Is relapse part of recovery? Yes. The concept and reality of it are a very real concern inside the walls of recovery. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, people recovering from addiction often have one or more relapses along the way. I had 4. Relapse is when an addict returns to alcohol or drugs after a period of sobriety. A relapse can be a detrimental and deadly affair with devastating consequences. They always say that if and when you relapse, you go right back to where you left off. But usually, it's worse. The shame and guilt of relapse are worse than the shame and guilt of addiction, which can cause many people to lose all hope for themselves because they feel like they failed other people, including themselves. This can further perpetuate their relapse and sometimes hinder them forever returning to recovery. What is the difference between a slip and a relapse? It's important to know the difference between a slip and a relapse, 2 very different situations that can happen in recovery. A slip, also, which can also be known as a lapse, is a situation where someone has a very brief slip where they drink or use, but they stop quickly afterward, avoiding a full relapse into addiction because they might feel guilty. Usually, this happens when a person decides to use again, but instantly regrets their decision. Some people have a simple slip-up where they use but immediately return to recovery, and it often strengthens their will to stay sober. Others allow a slip to turn into a full-blown relapse or even a total downward spiral with no escape in sight. The word relapse actually stems from Latin meaning to slip back. This is used as a designation for someone who has been sober and fell back into their substance abuse. And it's a problem. Their length of sobriety can vary from a week to a month or several years and has no defined time frame. The basis of a relapse is when someone who was in recovery for any amount of time returns to their old ways and the old substance abuse habits. Typically, a slip is extremely short-lived and does not take away from someone's motivation to stay sober and recover from their addiction. In fact, it can often fuel their decision to get back on track and stay there for good. Knowing that a slip is something that you can quickly recover from can help an addict get back on their feet in recovery very quickly. It is important to understand that not everyone in recovery experiences a relapse. However, it is a topic that everyone should be aware of and mindful of in their recovery. Enrolling in a drug detox center or alcohol detox center is the first step towards a better life through therapy, my friends. While relapse rates in recovery are high, it is not uncommon that every recovering addict will experience a relapse, and relapse is not unique to people with substance use disorders. What are the signs of drug relapse? The onset of a slip or relapse far too often comes with many warning signs. Some of the most common concerns for potential relapse include the following, and please listen up. Extreme cravings with no outlet to disengage or distract yourself from. Thinking that you can moderate or use again without becoming an addict. Romanticizing about drug use in the past, isolating or withdrawing. associating with old friends who are still having their bad habits, extreme stress or changes in behavior, change in social relationships, or disengaging with support groups, a perceived slip that leads to withdrawal symptoms, loss of interest in being active or participating in hobbies. How can you, my friends, help someone that has relapse? And that's for my friend who had a family member that it happened to. There are unfortunate misconceptions around relapsing, and this creates some concerns on how to help someone who has encountered or is experiencing a relapse. There are difficult things to understand when it comes to dealing with relapsing from alcohol or drugs. First of all, it is imperative that everyone and anyone who relapses understands that they can still return to recovery as well as be successful at it. Be successful at it. The sooner someone can stop using again, the better chances they have in minimizing the damage. If someone relapses, it is important to encourage him or her to get back into treatment or to get help as soon as possible. It's equally important not to shame them to make them feel worse than they already do. Being compassionate to the fact that they or their substance abuse is likely not something they are proud of or wanting to have happen is the best way to be there for a person who is actively, and I mean actively, relapsing. Trying to get them to talk through what happened and how they are feeling can be helpful, but it can also cause them to be defensive, and you don't want that. You don't want to make them feel that way. At the end of the day, someone who has relapse can't really be helped, but only encourage that recovery is still and will always be an option. It is up to them to get back on track and seek help again. And my friend and I spoke about this early this morning. Getting help, my friends. If you or someone you love is in danger of possibly relapsing, and it probably can happen, do not wait until it's too late to take action. Take action immediately. And, it's very important that you do. So call me at 844-405-HELP. Together, you and I, we can help each other take our lives back. And folks, remember, be good to yourselves and be good to others. And remember, a simple smile to a total stranger can change that stranger's complete day and possibly their life. May God bless you. May God bless America. And please, if you're experiencing relapse, please reach for help. And if you know someone that has relapse, be there supportively and help them. Do not make them feel defensive. Take good care, and may God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.